As of July 23, 2026, active hostilities are ongoing across Syria, Ukraine, and Yemen, and one other region. Here is the current operational picture. Ukrainian F-16 Fighting Falcons achieved their first confirmed air-to-air kill earlier this week, engaging a Russian Su-35S over western Ukraine, according to General Michael Langley. This report details critical developments across Syria and Ukraine, Iran and Russia. We examined the swift collapse of Syria's government forces following a three-day rebel offensive in northern Syria. Analysis follows on heightened Houthi attacks targeting Saudi Arabian oil tankers in the Red Sea and evolving strategic implications. Finally, we assess Russia's response to these shifting regional dynamics. This month marks a significant shift in aerial combat capabilities within Ukraine, as confirmed by General Dan Kane, who disclosed that a Ukrainian F-16 fighter has achieved the first air-to-air kill against a Russian Su-35S multi-role fighter. This event underscores the growing impact of Western military aid and represents a tangible escalation in the conflict's dynamics. The Su-35S is a formidable aircraft, equipped with advanced radar and long-range missiles, making its loss particularly noteworthy. Ukrainian pilots are rapidly adapting to the F-16's capabilities, demonstrating increasing proficiency in air defense operations against Russian aviation. Meanwhile, on the ground, fighting remains intense around key locations like Avdiivka, Toretsk, and Pokrovsk, where Russian forces continue attempts to consolidate their positions despite facing stiff resistance. Oryx visual documentation confirms Russia has sustained staggering losses since February 2022. Over 3,500 tanks, 7,800 armored vehicles and 350 aircraft have been visually confirmed destroyed or captured, representing the largest documented equipment loss in modern warfare. These losses highlight the strain on Russian logistics and production capabilities, further complicating their operational objectives. To address the urgent demand for anti-ballistic missile interceptors, Lockheed Martin has recently unveiled a scaled-down version of the Patriot missile system. Ukraine is actively requesting more Patriots to counter incoming threats, while other allied nations are also expressing interest in this enhanced capability. The Baby Patriot, as it's being referred to, offers increased flexibility and potentially lower deployment costs compared to its larger predecessor, allowing for broader defensive coverage across a wider geographic area within Ukraine. This development signals a continued commitment from Western partners to bolster Ukrainian air defenses against both missile and aerial attacks, critical given the ongoing intensity of combat in eastern regions. The evolving technological landscape in this conflict raises concerns about how similar advancements could destabilize other volatile regions, such as Syria, where existing power struggles may be amplified by these shifting military advantages. Over 3 days of intense fighting, Syrian rebel forces have inflicted significant losses on regime military units in northern Syria, resulting in a demonstrable collapse of defensive lines and control over key territory. The offensive, centered around the strategic towns of Manbij and Tel Rifat, saw rebel elements utilizing coordinated small unit tactics to exploit weaknesses in fortified positions previously considered impenetrable. Initial reports indicate the destruction of numerous armored vehicles, artillery pieces, and logistical support assets belonging to pro-regime forces, effectively crippling their ability to respond. While precise casualty figures remain difficult to verify amidst ongoing operations, battlefield assessments suggest substantial losses on both sides, with regime military personnel bearing the brunt of the initial assault. The rapid advance has captured an estimated 15 kilometers of territory previously held by Syrian government troops and affiliated militias. This shift represents a considerable setback for Damascus, potentially opening new avenues for cross-border incursions and complicating efforts to consolidate control over northern Syria. The success of this offensive highlights a renewed capability amongst disparate rebel factions, suggesting improved training, coordination, and access to advanced weaponry, the source of which remains under investigation. Control of Tel Rifat is particularly significant, as it provides proximity to areas bordering Turkey and influences the flow of displaced populations within the region. The demonstrated effectiveness of these rebel operations poses a direct challenge to the Assad regime's authority and underscores the fragility of the current power balance. Furthermore, this instability creates an environment ripe for exploitation by external actors, notably Iran, whose continued military presence and support for Syrian government forces now face renewed scrutiny in light of these battlefield developments. The escalating tensions along Syria's northern border foreshadow a potential confrontation with Iranian-backed proxies operating deeper within the country. The escalating tensions in the Persian Gulf have taken a concerning turn following recent Houthi attacks on Saudi Arabian oil tankers transiting the Red Sea. This development adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation, particularly impacting energy markets. While naval skirmishes around Bandar Abbas continue to intensify, these coordinated Houthi actions represent a significant escalation in regional instability. The Houthis, based primarily in Yemen and backed by Iran, are now directly targeting critical infrastructure vital to Saudi Arabia's oil exports, potentially disrupting the flow of crude to international destinations. Initial reports indicate several tankers sustained damage, although the full extent of the impact is still being assessed. The Red Sea route is a crucial artery for energy shipments, with a significant portion of Middle Eastern oil passing through this choke point. Attacks on these vessels not only threaten supply lines but also raise insurance costs and shipping premiums, further exacerbating inflationary pressures worldwide. The strategic implications are far-reaching, potentially triggering retaliatory measures from Saudi Arabia that could draw Iran more directly into the conflict. Military analysts believe the Houthis' increased aggression is a deliberate tactic to exert pressure on both Saudi Arabia and international powers amid heightened tensions with Iran itself. Beyond the Red Sea, concerns remain about potential strikes within Iranian territory. While reports of direct military action inside Iran have been limited thus far, locations like Natanz and Isfahan, housing sensitive nuclear facilities, are considered high-value targets should the conflict escalate further. The situation in Bandar Abbas is particularly precarious as increased naval activity raises the risk of accidental or intentional engagements between opposing forces. This mirrors the strategic vulnerabilities exposed by Russia's operations in Ukraine, where control over energy infrastructure and key transportation routes has become a central element of geopolitical maneuvering. 2 Russian citizens have been sentenced in Angola for terrorism and espionage, adding a new layer of complexity to Russia's international operations as fighting intensifies within its borders. This week saw the confirmed crash of a Su-57 fighter jet near Zvenigorod, just outside Moscow, an incident that underscores growing concerns about Russia's military capabilities and logistical vulnerabilities. While Russian authorities claim the pilot ejected safely, footage circulating online depicts significant wreckage, raising questions regarding potential structural failures or operational errors impacting this advanced fifth-generation aircraft. The Su-57 represents a key component of Russia's air superiority ambitions, and its loss, however isolated, highlights the strain on resources already stretched thin by sustained combat operations in Ukraine. The ongoing battles around Belgorod and Voronezh continue to define the Eastern Front, with Ukrainian forces maintaining considerable pressure despite Russian attempts to reinforce defensive lines. These engagements are occurring against a backdrop of staggering equipment losses. Oryx visual documentation confirms Russia has lost over 3,500 tanks, 7,800 armored vehicles and 350 aircraft since February 2022, representing the largest confirmed equipment loss in modern warfare. The sheer scale of these losses, compounded by incidents like the Su-57 crash, points to a deepening crisis within Russia's military-industrial complex. The Angolan convictions are particularly noteworthy. These men were found guilty over an alleged plot to stage a coup and organize demonstrations related to fuel prices last year, suggesting Moscow may be increasingly involved in destabilizing efforts abroad even as its domestic military situation deteriorates. The timing of these events, the court ruling coinciding with intense fighting near Voronezh and the aircraft crash so close to Moscow, raises concerns about resource allocation and strategic priorities. Russia's ability to project power internationally while sustaining a grueling war effort within Ukraine is increasingly questionable, especially given the mounting evidence of internal pressures on its military infrastructure. The question now becomes, can Moscow realistically address these multifaceted challenges, from equipment replenishment to international repercussions, without fundamentally altering its approach to the conflict? The recent confluence of developments across multiple theaters reveals a shifting strategic landscape characterized by asymmetric adaptation and escalating risks to global energy security. The Syrian offensive, reportedly culminating in a rapid regime military collapse in northern Syria, highlights the potential for localized successes achieved through focused special military operations. While details remain emergent, the speed of this advance suggests vulnerabilities within Syrian defenses that could be exploited further, potentially reshaping control over key border regions and impacting Turkish-Syrian dynamics. The reported effectiveness of Ukrainian F-16s, specifically achieving an air-to-air kill against a Russian Su-35S, confirmed by General Kane, is a significant development. This demonstrates the growing utility of Western-supplied aircraft in challenging Russian air superiority and necessitates a reassessment of Russia's tactical air defense posture within Ukraine. The location of this engagement remains unconfirmed, but its impact is clear. It validates the F-16's operational capability beyond ground attack roles. Simultaneously, Houthi attacks on Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea represent an immediate and tangible threat to global energy markets. This escalation, occurring amidst heightened tensions with Iran, risks triggering a wider regional conflict and disrupting critical shipping lanes. The potential for retaliatory action by Saudi Arabia or its allies could further destabilize the region and impact oil prices significantly. Concurrently, the reported crash of a Russian Su-57 near Moscow underscores ongoing challenges within Russia's advanced military aviation program. While pilot ejection suggests survivability, the loss of an aircraft representing substantial investment raises questions about maintenance protocols and operational readiness, particularly given the demands placed on Russian air assets in Ukraine. Finally, Lockheed Martin's unveiling of a smaller Patriot missile interceptor directly addresses Ukraine's urgent need for enhanced air defense capabilities and reflects broader Allied concerns regarding ballistic missile threats. Over the next 30 to 90 days, expect continued pressure along the northern Syrian border with potential Turkish intervention if regime stability is further eroded. In Ukraine, Russian forces will likely attempt to regain momentum in key sectors while Ukrainian forces leverage their newly proven F-16 capabilities. The Red Sea presents the most immediate and volatile risk. Increased naval presence from multiple nations is probable, potentially leading to direct confrontation. Russia's response to the Su-57 crash will be closely monitored for indications of internal adjustments to its military aviation strategy. The deployment of smaller Patriot missiles into Ukraine should begin within this timeframe, providing a crucial layer of defense against Russian missile attacks.